Thakur is working as an assistant professor in Department of Geology, Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. His field of specialization include palynology, fuel geology, paleo-environmental studies. He has completed his PhD and MSc in geology from Kurukshetra University, and he has been awarded Birbal Sahni Research Scholarship Award to pursue PhD and Birbal Sahni Research Associate Award to work on organic petrology and hydrocarbon source rock evaluation at BSIP here in Lucknow. He has published 80 research papers in national and international research journals and published more than 30 to 40 abstracts in national and international conferences. He has supervised he is supervising 4 PhD scholars right now, and he has been evaluating some of the PhD work. He is a member of PG and UG Board of Study Department of Geology, Kurukshetra University, technical advisor for many NGOs, and he has been in the academic counselor of our IGNU, member of many college inspection committees, and a member of NAC steering committee of Kurukshetra University. And at the same time, he has experience to organize national and international conferences. And just in the end, I would like to say that he is working on minor research project on biofascies and depositional environment of the Kakara Formation exposed in Solan district of Himachal Pradesh, India. He has chaired many technical sessions in international and national conferences and seminars and workshops. So I welcome you, Prakash Thakur sir, for your talk. And now I believe that you can share your presentation and then you can start with your talk. Thank you.
First of all, I would like to thank that I've been invited by this Palaeobotanical Society for presenting this lecture. And I would like to share that as I have been a part of this BSIP way back in 2007 as a research associate, and most of the people that I'm seeing, the faces, those are my colleagues, and some of them are my seniors like Hukam Singh sir, Namaskar sir, KG Mishra ji, and Vishwajit Thakur, and Murthy sir, Basmatre sir, and many others are there. So mera regards sabko, hai na. And formally, I would like to thank the director BSIP and Dr. Pavan Goyal ji for inviting me for this lecture. So shall I start now, sir?
Okay, sir. Please start.
Okay, sir. I hope this slide is visible. So today's lecture that I'm going to deliver for you people, that is a hydrocarbon source rock evaluation. So this lecture that will cover what is hydrocarbon, what is source rock, what are the various types of organic matter that matures to form hydrocarbon, and how it gets migrated to the source rock, then how it is being trapped and we utilize it for a commercial purpose. So before starting to the further, first of all, I would like to introduce what is hydrocarbon. As you all know that hydrocarbon, whether it is liquid hydrocarbon, it is gaseous or a solid hydrocarbon, that we call it as a petroleum product. So hydrocarbons are basically the organic molecules which may be one carbon and hydrogen, that is the basic structure. And molecule number, if the total carbon number goes on increasing, its weight varies, means this solid hydrocarbon will be formed. If the carbon atom number is less, we get the gaseous hydrocarbon. If the if it is in between, then it behaves like a liquid hydrocarbon. So the chain of the hydrocarbon that may vary, that may be straight chain, that may be complex, that may be cyclic in nature. So next we come to the origin of hydrocarbons. So we know that hydrocarbon, which is organic in nature, that is definitely made up by the organisms like plants and animals. Okay. So hydrocarbons are formed from the organic matter. The organic matter is deposited mainly in the marine environment and remain buried under reducing conditions. When it is buried under the sediments due to the overload of sedimentations, temperature goes on increasing due to the higher temperature, it starts maturation. There are different stages of maturation like diagenesis, catagenesis, metagenesis. And similarly, the hydrocarbon, these products are formed. Firstly, we get the lighter hydrocarbon, then like gases, then liquid hydrocarbons. In the last, we get the solid hydrocarbons. So the main material that requires for this formation of hydrocarbon is organic matter. Organic matter source may be different, that may be terrestrial, that may be aquatic, and main contribution that we know, that is the this marine biological product material. So as the organic material that is being buried and that gets converted and being matured, the first stage that is known as the kerogen. So this kerogen, if the further temperature acts upon it due to the burial, the first stage that is known as diagenesis, the temperature ranges from 0 degree to 60 degree, then 60 to 150 degree, that is catagenesis. Then thereafter, if the temperature goes further, then it is metagenesis. At the first stage, this process, which happens under the 50 degrees centigrade, then the methane gas initially, that is due to the biological activity that is formed, that is known as biogenic gas, that is methane gas. And further, if temperature increases between 50 to 150 degrees centigrade, kerogen cracks to generate hydrocarbons. So mainly the liquid hydrocarbon is being formed here, that is also known as the oil window zone. Further, then the last stage of conversion of kerogen hydrocarbon is known as metagenesis. Here we get only the dry gas, and the very less potential for hydrocarbon is there. So if we study for hydrocarbon evaluation, so we have to see the three things. One is source rock, so which is generating the hydrocarbon, which contains organic material, and the next one that we have to see for reservoir rock, that holds the migrated hydrocarbon. So for recovery of the hydrocarbon, the trapping is must. There should also be trap rock, which confines the hydrocarbon within the reservoir rock. So together, these are known as petroleum system. For being a source rock, it should have a fine-grained sedimentary and sufficient amount of organic matter in it, which gets converted into hydrocarbon later on by maturation. For commercial purpose, we can say this is a good hydrocarbon source rock. If for that we see the quantity of organic material that should be quite enough for generation of hydrocarbon. Then comes the quality of hydrocarbon. Quality of hydrocarbon can be seen by the kerogen, the organic matter, which type of organic matter is contributing this source rock. Source rock thermal maturity, that is the main thing that should be there. If the maturity of the organic matter is not sufficient, we cannot get the hydrocarbon of the desired level. The source rock richness, if we see the total organic carbon content in the source rock, if that is less than 0.5, we can say that is a poor source rock. A fair, we can say 5 to 1%. Good is 1 to 2, very good 2 to 5. And excellent, we can say that if the total organic carbon content is more than 5% in a source rock, then we can say that is excellent hydrocarbon source rock. So another thing that we use for this maturity, that is thermal alteration index. It varies, different scales are there, that one, but one that I'm showing here, that is the spore coloration index, that is based on the visual estimation. By seeing the color of the exine, we can say that how much maturation has taken place. So initially, if rock is immature, its color is very light in color, light yellowish color. This color goes on deepening from light yellow to dark yellow, brown or orangish brown, and dark brown, then black. It means the maturation is increasing. Similarly, the number is given against that on this color chart 1 to 5. 1 is the immature source rock, now 5 that has already contributed and that will not contribute now. So in between, like 2.5 to 3, that behaves as a good source rock and will generate liquid hydrocarbon. Similarly, the vitrinite reflectance, that is also the measure for this maturity index. We can say that organic material which is having the vitrinite minerals in a sedimentary rock, or that organic matter. So if we see the this vitrinite reflectance values, if the vitrinite reflectance values are higher, it means that is highly matured. So that is also given against this thermal alteration index values, that initially, that is for example, that is 0.2, that is immature, 0.3, 0.5, 0.9. These are simultaneously increasing the rank of those this mineral that is being increased. So that will behave as a good source rock. Similarly, if the rank is quite high, like 2.5 or scales and more, then it will not generate hydrocarbon. It may have already generated and it may have been oxidized due to the oxidation, or maybe due to the fire that will contribute only the carbon. Similarly, the fluorescence studies are being carried out for this thermal maturity. If the organic matter that is seen under the microscope in a blue light, so we can say if the this organic matter that flourish in a blue or green color, that is immature, greenish yellow to golden yellow, that will behave as a good source rock. Oranges that will also behave as a good source rock. Similarly, if it goes to red and it will not, if it doesn't behave this fluorescence in UV light, so it cannot generate. It may have already generated, or it is not having any hydrogen-rich mineral there. So next is that this maturation, that is one of the good tool for evaluating the hydrocarbon source rock. So here we studies the hydrocarbon potential of a given source rock. For this, there is a instrument that is known as the rock eval pyrolysis. So in this, what happens, we take the source rock, a small amount of the source rock that is heated in an inert environment. We can say that absence of oxygen. So helium gas is used for this process. Initially, if already in a given source rock there is hydrocarbon present, so we heat it up to the 300 degrees centigrade for 3 minutes. If it liberates the hydrocarbons, that peak is recorded in that instrument by the instrument. That peak is known as S1. It means that already produced hydrocarbon is consumed now. So now we simultaneously increase the temperature gradually 25 degrees centigrade per minute up to 550 degrees centigrade. So in this case, what happens if already the kerosene available is there, that is being cracked and converts into hydrocarbon. That hydrocarbon peak is recorded by the instrument, that is known as the S2 peak. The temperature when the maximum peak is there, that is known as the Tmax values. That it means that this much hydrocarbon this can generate now. Okay. So the carbon dioxide is also liberated during this process. That carbon dioxide is also measured and that is known as that third peak, that is S3 peak. So in this way, we can say that how much potential of a source rock is and how much it has already generated. These are the different peaks shown here. This is calculated by the following steps as given here. As the oven is kept isothermally at 300 degrees centigrade for 3 minutes, and free hydrocarbons are volatilized first. That is, as I told earlier, that is S1 peak. Then next that comes the peak, that is S2 peak. It means the hydrocarbon that was available there, that is cracked by the by increasing the temperature. So S1, the amount of free hydrocarbon in the sample that if S1 is greater than, if we calculate it, if that is S1 is greater than 1 mg per g, it may be indicative of an oil show. So S2, amount of hydrocarbon generated through thermal cracking of non-volatile organic matter. S2 is an indication of quantity of hydrocarbon that the rock has potential for producing, and should burial and maturation continue. It means it is already having this much potential, and if the temperature goes further by the burial or by due to any other activities, this can generate the hydrocarbon of that optimum type. So if we talk about this type of organic matter that is known as the kerogens, which kerogen contributes what type of hydrocarbon, that is shown here in this chart, that is plotted against the hydrogen and carbon ratio, and on the other hand side, that is oxygen carbon ratio. We know that the hydrocarbon, if hydrogen is more than that kind of kerogen, that will contribute to the liquid hydrocarbons. So, and if the oxygen ratio is more, so it means that will contribute the gaseous hydrocarbons. In this way, there are 4 types of these kerogens. So category 1 type, that is good in algal materials. It means that the marine environment is suitable for the growth of algae. So the marine depositional environment that contributes for the liquid hydrocarbon. And second type, that is the phytoplanktons. If phytoplanktons are more in the sediments, that source rock, that will behave as a good source for this liquid also. So third type of this kerogen, that is mainly derived from terrestrial sources. The plant materials are there. If the woody plants are there, the tissues, bark, roots, and others, leaf-like, so those will contribute for the gaseous hydrocarbon. So fourth type is carbonized material. It means it has already been oxidized, or the temperature has gone up to that level that it has already liberated hydrocarbon and there is nothing to produce now. It's only carbon left out. So that comes under the fourth category, that has no potential, or that to some quantity of gaseous hydrocarbon this may produce only. So if we talk about the coal, can it act as a source rock or not? As we know that coal is also fossil fuel, that is, it is also used as energy resources. Coal can be identified as the rock composed of more than 50% organic matter by weight, and the definition of rock is given for it. So as we know that the coal is mainly formed by the plant materials. The plant material, we know that the main source of the formation of coal is terrestrial source. We know the woody material is mainly the main contribution for the formation of coal. So woody material, we know that it rich in oxygen, as shown in this previous chart, that kerogen type, that is third type of kerogen, that is mainly woody material. It will contribute the gaseous hydrocarbon. We know that the coal also contributes methane, and coal bed methane is main constituent that is generated by the coal seams. So this coal behaves as a source rock, even and also reservoir rock, because no trap is required in case of coal. It is already binded with as in the way like adsorbed state. So we know that coal is formed by the accumulation of vegetation, the compression, and due to the overweight, the temperature goes on increasing. Similar process takes place here, the diagenesis, catagenesis, and metagenesis. We see the main contribution is the woody material, so it will generate oxygen-rich, that is known as this gaseous hydrocarbon. So we know that the major depositional environment where we can find that good amount of organic material preserved, that those are river floodplains, deltas, coastal plains, lake fringes, and many other fillings where the organic matter gets accumulated. So what are the coal forming plants? I mean, which contributes for this source rock? So we see that there are different parts of the plants. Individual parts contribute for different these things in coal petrology. So we see that the woody tissues of the plant, like roots, bark, stems, that contributes this vitrinite. These are the different materials, the micro constituents of a coal, the vitrinite, liptinite, and inertinite. Vitrinite is contributed by the woody tissues, and liptinite, we can say that this is lipid-rich material as signifies by its name. So it is contributed by resin, spores, pollen of the plants. Then next material, that is inertinite. It means that has already been oxidized or that will not generate any this hydrocarbon. So these three materials are there in the coal, which contributes different kinds of hydrocarbons. Vitrinite that contributes for gaseous hydrocarbon. Liptinite, which is rich in lipid, basic substance is there, so that will definitely generate the hydrocarbon. So if we see the coal, that can contribute as a source rock. So how that we study the coal samples under microscope. We have to prepare the pellets, as most of the workers, they are doing this work in BSIP. Also, I have done the same thing there. So these are the photographs that I have done this work at BSIP Lucknow. So pellets are prepared for the coal sample. That these are studied under the reflected microscope for measural analysis, and simultaneously, as I have already told in the previous slide, the vitrinite reflectance, that value is studied for these pellets, and vitrinite, how much this light is being reflected from the surface of these materials. So we can say how much it is matured. So these are different materials that we study under this microscope. These are the photographs. As already I talked about these three kinds of materials: the vitrinite, inertinite, and this liptinite group. So these are the photographs. The bright band, that is vitrinite, and the white in color, that is more this showing the reflectance values, that is inertinite. And here you can see this is under the fluorescent light microscopy. So these are the liptinite-rich materials of coal. If the vitrinite, this liptinite group is more in a given sample of coal, so that definitely that may have contributed, that will contribute the liquid hydrocarbon somehow. These are also the photographs of liptinite group of materials under microscope. So you can see these are the degraded, or some are the good spores shown in this photograph. Here you can see the cutinite, which is the outermost layer of that is also known as the cuticle, the outermost covering of the leaf. That is waxy in nature, and that definitely contributes for the liquid hydrocarbon. This is again the cutinite, and the topmost, the right side, you can see that is the resin, that is known as the resinite, as a some material, and the spores as a sporinite. Here in this chart, you can see the values of vitrinite reflectance, that if the rock is gone up to this less depth, it means lesser pressure is applied and temperature is applied for that source rock. So that will behave as an immature, and the vitrinite reflectance values also, that is lower for this less matured rock, or we can say the coal. So if the depth is more, it means temperature and the pressure is applied over there. So the rank of that coal also goes on increasing. If we see the vitrinite reflectance values for those coals, that may definitely be high. So we can say at the lowermost that value, that is 0.4, and the topmost, that is 1.5. It is showing the increasing trend towards the upper side. It means the depth is being increased, the value goes on increasing. So similarly, accordingly, the organic type of hydrocarbon that it generates. This is the analysis that is carried out for the material analysis, and this is a ternary diagram, the three different types of materials those are plotted against this diagram. So we can say what kind of this organic matter is present there, minerals. So what kind of hydrocarbon it should generate. If the vitrinite rich minerals are there, so definitely that is the hydrogen rich source rock. If the inertinite group is there, it means it cannot generate any hydrocarbon. It is already oxidized. If the liptinite group is there, so we can say that it can behave as a good source for liquid hydrocarbon as well. So another one, this is known as on the right hand side, that is the vitrinite mineral. So this mineral is selected for measuring these reflectance values for maturation of organic material. How much light that is reflected from the surface of that hole. So it shows the maturation. So this is oil-prone coal. If we see it under the fluorescent mode, we can say that it will flourish, and it shows the liquid hydrocarbon potential as it is rich in this liptinite group of minerals. Only the liptinite group of minerals that flourish under the microscope in different tones of yellowish, orangish light. So as a source of gaseous hydrocarbons, the coal bed methane that is well known, that is recovered from the coal seams. So not only the methane gas is produced during this recovery, also carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water is also there along with methane. During the early stages of coal liquefaction, what happens at the earlier stage of this diagenetic processes, this methane gas is produced. Later on, if the temperature goes on increasing, then catagenesis takes place. And so later on, this thermogenic gas, methane again, that is produced in the coal beds. That is stored there in the cleats already available in the coal seams, or that may be adhered to the surface in the adsorbed state. So it is little bit difficult to recover this gases from the coal. So it is shown in this slide that how this coal bed methane is retained. The free gas within the pore spaces and fractured in the coal. Fractured, whatever the fracture, micro fractures are available in the coal, that is known as the cleats. That is a good potential for recovery of gaseous hydrocarbon. So it is this gas is retained in the three ways. One is that in the microclids, another one is the adsorbed molecules on the organic surface of the coal, or another one that may be in the dissolved state in the groundwater available in the coal seams. This is the extraction method, how the coal bed methane is extracted from any coal bed. So if by using the submersible pump, that water is extracted, and along with this, due to the low pressure developed within the seam, that coal bed methane that is being utilized. So similarly, the source of hydrocarbon, we see this is one of the example of Kangra districts in Himachal Pradesh. There is one temple there, geology temple. There you can see the natural gas that is being ignited over there for last so many years. So what is the source of this this seepage of gas? If we study that the general geology of that area, so we see that the rocks exposed in that area, that is shivaliks and this Dhanshala group of rocks. If we see this content of organic matter within those rocks, that will not behave as a good source rock for hydrocarbon generation. It means that that is not the source of this gas seepage. So it means some other rocks are there. If we see at the depth there, we see the Swathu sediments are there. So Swathu coal is available there. That Swathu coal that is contributing this gas for generation in this seepage in the area. So this is one of the good example of hydrocarbon, gaseous hydrocarbon seepage in the area. That main contribution is from the coal lithology in the Eocene sediments of Swathu. So if the source rock that already generated hydrocarbon, that has to be transported from there to the best suitable places to be accumulated. Source rock, when the thermal cracking this takes place within the kerogens, it expands and the cracks are developed in the source rock, and that hydrocarbon that is being transported, and we can see that it makes the porosity and permeability both to travel the liquid and gaseous hydrocarbon. It goes to the carrier beds, and from there it goes to the reservoir rock. And here, these arrow marks, these are the pathways how it moves. Then reservoir rock should have the higher this porosity to accumulate the generated hydrocarbons, and this definitely most of the reservoir rocks, these are sedimentary rocks. Even the igneous and metamorphic rocks, they can also behave as a reservoir rocks if the porosity, secondary porosity is developed due to the fractures or due to dissolution. So that can also behave as a reservoir rocks. So reservoir rocks, one of the example is carbonate rocks, the limestone that also behaves as a good reservoir rock. Then thereafter, this this organic matter, this petroleum product which is accumulated in the reservoir rock, that should be trapped, otherwise that can escape with the time. So cap rock, that seal, that should have the minimum or no porosity, so to check the escape of hydrocarbon generated. There are different these petroleum traps that can be any anticline of impermeable layer that can be developed due to the faulting of the strata, which is impervious and can check the migration of generated hydrocarbon. So it can be the stratigraphic traps, that source rock, that the top of that may have been eroded, and later on the unconformity has developed and some impervious layer is found thereafter. That will also act as a stratigraphic trap to check the seepage of hydrocarbon. So another one that is the best example, that is salt dome, that also acts as a good trap rock. So next comes that the exploration and production. How we can find that where we can get the hydrocarbons reserves. So as already studied, that the main source of hydrocarbon generation, that is organic material. If we see that maximum productivity of the organic matter, that is at the shoreline. So maximum this, if we see in the ocean, the productivity is more algae is there, phytoplanktons are there, that will definitely contribute for the production of this hydrocarbon. And some sources are also from the terrestrial, but that is less in number. So the promising sites for hydrocarbon generation, these are the shorelines. We have to find out the shorelines. So, but the present shoreline, that will not help in delineating this point for generation, this recovery of hydrocarbon. We have to see the ancient sea shoreline, because that has already gone to that temperature and time. So that has definitely generated hydrocarbon. So we have to see the past shorelines. For that, we have to see the paleogeographic maps. If we see the paleogeographic maps, for example, of the tertiary age, so if we see those maps, we can see the shorelines. For example, if we are getting hydrocarbon in Rajasthan area, but there is no such shoreline now. So it means in the past, definitely that shoreline was passing through this area, so that has contributed to hydrocarbon. Now that is a promising site for recovery of hydrocarbon. So the later on, what we are using nowadays for vehicles, for our domestic purpose in kitchen. So different kinds of these fuels, these are not generated in the field at the same time. So these are distilled in the refineries, and different kinds of hydrocarbon, these are separated by by applying different temperature. So early at the low temperature, the lighter hydrocarbons are separated, then heavier, then in the last, these solid hydrocarbons are produced. So these are used in the different industry and for different purposes. If you see as a refineries, we are getting fuels for our cars and for planes. These are the different products. Those are also being formed from being taken from these petroleum products. You can see it can be used in electricity, appliances, tires, pipes, shoes, and footballs, and many other photographs I have shown here. These all are some contribution of these petroleum products for making these products. So it was all about how the hydrocarbons are generated by the sedimentary organic materials. This study of sedimentary organic material that is known as the Palaeobotanical, if we see which kind of this kerogen and their quality, which type of kerogens are there, we studied it under this Palaeobotanical studies. This is one of the good tools, determination of carbon, these kerogen types, their abundance, providing clues to the depositional environment and for hydrocarbon generation potential. And also this thermal alteration index, we can study it by visually under the microscope by seeing the spore coloration of any source rock. So I have given some examples of my studies from the two areas, one from this Uttarakhand area, that is the Eocene sediments, Swathu sediment, that is one of the source rock for showing a good generation potential. And another is Eocene sediments, Swathu sediments of Himachal area. So the hydrocarbon source rock potential of Swathu formation evaluated on the basis of dispersed organic matter and thermal alteration index values. So we have adopted the classification scheme by Nestor and Koch for identifying these various types of organic material, that is structured dispersed organic matter, spore, pollen, biodegraded terrestrial organic matter, charcoal, fungi, amorphous categories. These different types of organic matters, they contribute differently for hydrocarbon generation. If we see the structured terrestrial organic matter is there in the dominance, that will contribute the gaseous hydrocarbon. It is mainly contributed by leaf, roots, and stem of the plants. Biodegraded organic material, this is the plant-derived organic matter that has undergone somehow biodegradation, that may be due to the microbial activities, that has a little contribution for liquid hydrocarbon generation and for gaseous hydrocarbon. And another one category that is totally this fine organic material, that is amorphous organic material. The main contribution is by aquatic, in aquatic environment, the amorphous organic material that may be yellowish in color or that may be gray organic in color. So this will contribute for the liquid hydrocarbon. So in case of this marine, this environment, this kind of amorphous organic material is rich there. So that will generate the liquid hydrocarbon. Then another one, that is black debris, or we can say that the charcoal. This is oxidized product of organic material that has less or very rare potential for hydrocarbon generation, that may have some this dry gas recovery, but it has already contributed and has fewer this potential. Spore pollen category, that is the spore and pollen being liberated by the plant groups. This, as we already discussed, it has a lipid-rich content, so it will definitely be, contribute for liquid hydrocarbon. The fungal remains, these are the remains of these fungal activities. So they may contribute for degradation of the organic materials like amorphous organic material and biodegraded organic material that also acts as a source for hydrogen generation. These are different types of organic matters. If you see in these slides, here's a dark colored, this structured organic material. These are known as structured terrestrial organic materials, and in this slide you can see this is total fine organic materials. This is amorphous organic material that is showing no cellular remains in the organic material. So here this is a dark colored layers are there. Those are charcoal, or that can be called as a black debris. And spore pollens are also shown in some of the slides. So here I'll show you some of the data that we have received from these Swathu sediments of, that is, one is this, we have recovered the Palaeobotanical assemblage from Swathu formations in the Nilkant area of Uttarakhand. And these regions, there are Swathu rocks exposed in this coral nappe. And these sediments we have studied for Palaeobotanical analysis, and we have evaluated it for the hydrocarbon source rock potential. And we have prepared the different Palaeobotanical categories in this, and divided it on the basis of those fishes. So characterization by the fishes, fishes A, B, C, we have recovered. The fishes A, if we talk about the fishes A, this is the bottommost part. That is domination amorphous organic matter with subdominance of black debris. And if we talk about the fishes, that is B, that is showing the high abundance of gray amorphous organic material and some black debris. And fishes C, the topmost division we see here is Palaeobotanical, that is dominated by this amorphous organic material with subdominance of fungal remains. And thermal values, that is based on this Staplin scale, but the spore coloration index by visualizing under the transmitted light microscope. The range of this alteration index, this goes from 2.75 to 3.5. That is suggesting mature to over mature fishes and moderately potential for hydrocarbon generation in this area. Another one that we have taken samples from Swathu sediments of Himachal Pradesh from Sirmaur districts, and here we see the dominance of amorphous organic materials here. This is the mainly amorphous organic material that is dominant in this region. The distribution of dispersed organic matter clearly indicates that it behaves as a source for hydrocarbon generation. We talk about the thermal index values of these sediments that goes up to the 3, which is considered to moderately good for gaseous hydrocarbon. So along with this amorphous organic material, this structure test organic material that is contributing sufficiently in these sediments. So we can say that it can behave as a good source for gaseous hydrocarbon as maturation is higher in this region. Thank you.
Thank you for your informative talk, Prakash ji.
Thanks.
Just would like to keep the discussion going on. If anyone has any question from the talk, please raise your hand or just ask the question. Anyone is there?
Oh no, I don't have any question because he gave already very wonderful talk.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, that it was a very from the basics to going to the advancement of the proxy. So it was really a wonderful talk for me.
Thank you, sir.
There is no question. There is no question. So if there is no question, then in vote of thanks, I'm thankful to the speaker, Dr. Om Prakash Thakur ji, for the informative talk, and all the participants. Thanks to all the participants to spare their time and their graceful presence. We will communicate further on the upcoming talk. Many thanks to each and everyone, each and every committee members and all to attend the talk and to make the talk happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to all of you for listening.
We will see you some other time.
Thank you.
Face to face. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O.P. Thakur sir. Thank you. Very nice
Thank
talk
you.
given by you.
थैंक यू राणा सर, थैंक यू सो
Okay,
मच।
see you.
आपको बहुत
Bye-bye.
कई बार देखने को मौका मिला, बहुत अच्छा लगा आप लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करके। मिश्रा जी, थैंक यू। थैंक यू सर, आई शुड लीव नाउ।